Hi everyone, Mega Shorts here, bringing you my first Hasbro Marvel Infinite Series 3.75 inch scale action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Wasp from Wave 1. I got this figure on Friday from my local Asda store for £7. While I was in there I also saw all the other figures from Wave 1, and I also got the Hulk figure in his armour from the Indestructible Hulk comics for the same price. I'm pretty happy to see a figure of the Wasp in this line. I believe this is the first figure Hasbro have made of the Wasp in this scale. She is also a very important character in the comics. She has been in them since 1963, and she is also one of the founding members of the Avengers. She's not yet part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but there is a rumour going around saying that she may be played by Evangeline Lilly in the upcoming Ant-Man movie, but nothing about that has been confirmed yet. So, the Marvel Infinite Series 3.75 inch scale action figure line is a reboot of the Marvel Universe figure line from Hasbro, which started in 2009 and ended last year. The figures in this line are pretty much the same as the Marvel Universe figures, so they do fit in with each other very, very nicely. But the packaging for these figures is very, very different, and we're going to take a look at that now. Okay, so if we take a look at the front, we can see that there is a Marvel Infinite Series logo at the top, which has some pictures of Captain America's shield, Thor's hammer, a Iron Man helmet, and one of Hulk's fists underneath. Below that we can see the figure and its accessories in a clear plastic bubble, along with the card at the bottom which shows the name of the figure. On the back we can see some pictures of the two Wasp figures that you get as part of this set, and then below that we can see some pictures of all the other figures from Wave 1, including Wonder Man, who isn't actually shown on the American packaging for these figures. I guess this is probably just a cancelled figure though, because I didn't see him when I was in Asda, and I think my store had only just got these figures in when I was in there picking this figure up. I haven't heard about anyone getting him, and I've not seen him on any websites up for pre-order as part of Wave 1 either. So I guess he is probably just a cancelled figure that was originally supposed to be part of Wave 1, but I think he is supposed to be released as part of Wave 2 or Wave 3 later this year. So even though he isn't available now, he probably could be in the future. Below the Wave 1 figure pictures we can see the same usual product and company information, not much to say about that really. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. I think the packaging for these new figures is really nice, I like it a lot, but I don't like it as much as the Marvel Universe figure packaging, because the Marvel Universe figure boxes always had a lot of stuff on them that would relate to the character you were getting. On the side of the front there'd be a picture of the character from the comics, and on the back there was always a little paragraph that would tell you about who they were and why and how they became a superhero or supervillain, and I think it would have been really nice if the packaging for these figures did have that. I know the American packaging for these figures do have little bios for the characters, but unfortunately the European packaging doesn't. So yeah, it's nice packaging, but I think it could be a bit better. Okay, so here we have the Wasp. Now she does come with this minifigure of herself, and we'll be taking a closer look at that later on in the video. Now, I'm not completely sure if this figure is 100% new or not. I know the head sculpt is new, and I believe the wings are new, but to me the body looks like it could be a downsized and repainted version of the body that was recently used for the Marvel Legends Spider-Girl figure. It might not be, it could just be a new sculpt that happens to look a lot like the one that was used for the Spider-Girl figure body, but I know it's not uncommon for Hasbro to reuse sculpts for a lot of different Marvel Universe characters, so yeah, it could be an existing sculpt that's just been downsized and repainted a bit, or it could be a new one. I'm not 100% sure. Now, one of my favourite things about this figure is the head sculpt. It's got a really good likeness to the Wasp from the comics, with that light brown hair and those light blue eyes which have been sculpted and painted really, really well. The lips look quite nice as well, looks like the paint on them has been applied really carefully too. It's just a really, really beautiful head sculpt, got no problems with it at all. Now the neck has been painted with a colour that is slightly darker to the skin on the face, which is a little bit frustrating. I would have liked the figure a bit more if it had just the same paint on the neck, but it is quite hard to notice that from a distance, and it's quite hard to notice when you have a head down like that. The neck has been painted quite well in most places, but we can see that on this side some of the paint has slipped onto the costume, but I guess that's just a problem with my figure, and I'm not going to let that affect the rating I give this figure in the end. Her costume is pretty simple. There's not really much to say about it, but it does look quite nice and accurate to how it usually looks in the comics. We can see that it is pretty much black all over, but it has got these gold parts as well, which have been done with a really nice metallic paint. She's got a big bit on her chest here, making her costume look a bit like a wasp, and she's got some more gold on her palms and some on her feet as well. Like the Marvel Universe Angel figure, she does come with a set of removable wings which go onto a couple of peg holes in her back. They're pretty nice. They've been made out of a yellow translucent material, and they've got some really nice sculpted detail on them. You can see that they've got lots of veins going across them. The only problem I have with these is that they do fall out quite a lot, usually when I'm posing the figure, but when I have her on the shelf that I keep her on, they stay on just fine. So yeah, if you keep the figures as display pieces or you keep them in their boxes, then that probably won't be a problem. But if you're someone that likes to pose figures a lot, just keep in mind that when you're posing this figure, they may fall out on a few occasions. So from head to toe, like many Marvel Universe figures, the Marvel Infinite Series Wasp figure is a really nice figure for detail paintwork and sculpting. I think Hasbro have done a really good job with this figure, and so far I'm pretty happy with it. And now it's time to take a look at this figure's articulation. Her head is on a ball joint with a hinge, so it can look all the way down and all the way up like so. Her head can also do a 360-degree turn, like the arms, which are also able to go outwards and inwards because they are on ball joints. Her arms can also bend up and down from the elbows, and they can swivel from here as well. And the hands also have wrist swivel joints, so they can swivel all the way around as well. Now, she doesn't have any waist articulation, and I know that will probably annoy some people, but she does have a joint on the abdomen where she can go backwards and forwards a bit, and also turn all the way around as well. Her legs can go backwards and forwards from the waist. They can swivel 360 degrees at the thighs. They can also bend at two joints in the knee, and there's a joint down here where they can swivel, and she also has a ankle pivot down here so her feet can turn a bit as well. Her wings also have articulation, and they can go up and down from the peg holes, and they can also move outwards and inwards from these joints here. I think the articulation on this figure is absolutely brilliant. This figure is covered in so many joints, so you can get her into loads of poses from the comics. You can have her looking all the way up like she normally is when she's in flight. You can have her in some fighting poses with her hands. There's just so much you can do with this figure thanks to all of those joints that she has. And yeah, not much else I can say about the articulation really. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Would have been good if she had a waist joint so you can turn her from there, but I'm quite happy with her just having the abdomen joint. Okay, now it's time for me to give a summary of my thoughts on this figure. Overall, I think the Marvel Infinite Series Wasp figure is a really nice addition to my Marvel action figure collection. I'm really happy with this figure. It's got some great detail on it, really nice paintwork, great sculpting and fantastic articulation, making it not only a really nice display piece, but also a really nice figure for those of us who like to pick up and pose these figures. And if I was to give this figure a rating out of 10, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It's a really nice figure and definitely a must-have for any fan of the Wasp. But I think it could have been a bit better if it came with tighter joints for the peg holes for her wings so that they didn't fall out so much. But despite that little problem, I still think this is a really, really good addition to my collection. That is pretty much all I have to say for the 3.75 inch scale Wasp figure, but this review is not over yet because now we're going to take a look at the mini Wasp figure. Okay, so here we have the mini Wasp. It's a pretty nice little figure. It's got a lot of detail on it, pretty much all the same detail that the other larger figure has. We can see that it's got all the gold on the costume and the yellow translucent wings. They are a separate piece to the figure, by the way, but they're only on one peg instead of two. You can pose them a bit as well, which is quite nice. And you can see that she's throwing one hand up into the air, so it looks like she's flying as well. It's a pretty nice little figure, not much I can say about it. If I were to give it a rating out of 5, I'd give it a 5 out of 5. And that is pretty much it for my review of the Marvel Infinite Series Wasp figure. Hope you've all enjoyed watching this review. If you want to share your thoughts on this figure and its accessories, feel free to do so in the comment section below or in a video response. My next Marvel Infinite Series figure review will be of the Hulk, and my next video will be a review of the Doctor Who 3.75 inch scale Zygon figure. Thanks for watching this review, guys, and I'll see you again soon.